Hiring a private caregiver is cheaper than using an agency. That's a claim I've heard many times over the years, but it's not really true, and here's why. First, liability. A caregiver is never an independent contractor. It doesn't matter if that's how the caregiver describes themselves, or if a family says, I'm only hiring you as an independent contractor. A caregiver is always an employee, either of an agency or of the household. That means all of the requirements for having an employee apply, even if a family only has one employee. What does that mean? The family must have workers' compensation insurance. And in fact, it's a misdemeanor not to have that, even with only one employee. Wage and hour rules must be followed. That means overtime after 9 hours in a day, 40 hours in a week, and you can't pay a flat rate like telling a private caregiver, I'll give you $150 a shift. That's illegal. They must be paid hourly. Both federal and state payroll taxes must be deducted from the wages, and that's both the employee taxes and also the matching employer taxes. Failure to do that can lead to fines, and there's no statute of limitations on that. Also, pay stubs must meet strict standards, and people can be fined for each pay stub that's out of compliance. That means writing a personal check or paying a caregiver cash will not hold up in court. If you do get sued, saying I didn't know the rules is not an excuse for not following the law. The courts won't buy that. And I have seen families that have hired personal caregivers get both fined and have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to settle a wage and hour claim rather than have it go to trial. So, those are the main reasons why hiring a private caregiver does not cost less. Paid sick days are also required in California. Some cities even require different amounts. And if a private caregiver is not paid that paid sick time or offered that paid sick time, the caregiver can file a claim with the labor commissioner, and that can lead to fines. Other issues involve safety. Reputable agencies do a thorough background check, including criminal history. Someone who is posting themselves as available on Craigslist or in a senior magazine may not meet those background requirements. So it could be a red flag, especially if private caregivers are not willing to be hired by good agencies. When a private caregiver gets sick or quits suddenly or takes an extended vacation, that's a safety issue because a vulnerable senior may not have coverage. But when you work with a reputable agency, we have a safety net in place and provide fill ins. Finally, there's the issue of fairness. Caregivers and their important work should be respected. And when they're paid privately or paid under the table, they don't get credit for the important programs that they'll rely on later in life, such as Medicare or Social Security. So it's actually shortchanging caregivers when they're paid illegally. They need to get credit for those programs and entitlements that they will rely on later in life. So, liability, safety, and fairness. That's why hiring a caregiver privately is not cheaper nor better for families or for caregivers.